All right, this is going to be a look at Kyle Hamilton's play through two preseason games. Of course, we know that there's been a lot of things said about Kyle Hamilton, some of them good, some of them bad. I think the film is going to show a guy who's in the right place at the right time. Generally, a guy who's very versatile, a guy who has a much better burst than he's given credit for by certain people. Those of us as Ravens fans who've seen some of the film, especially the play where Malik Willis scrambled in that first preseason game, we understand that the guy's got a burst. All the 40 time talk is over. He's got pads and helmet on now. He's communicating. I feel like we got a guy who and look, Edgar Allan did a fantastic video on Kyle Hamilton that is a little shorter than this one's going to be. It seems like my content is all becoming long form content lately. Let me know if that's a bad move, if you guys think so. But EA covered it well and said something really smart, if you ask me, that, if all you got from Kyle Hamilton was him covering tight ends at a very high level in man, during the season, that would be a success, but that you're going to get more than that. And I agree with it. I don't think I could have said it any better. I'm going to show you, I think, 5 plays from the Titans game and then 6 or 8 plays from the Arizona game. And one thing that Hamilton is doing, no matter who he's on the field with, in this case it's Jefferson, sometimes it's Geno Stone, is they're communicating pre-snap about the coverage. Now, I don't see much communication forward, like them saying something to people in front of them, but sometimes you don't see that because their face mask is facing forward. In this case, we saw it because his helmet turned this way, and obviously you got some body motion, and Jefferson's got his mouthpiece out right now, echoing a call back to him. But in any case, this is quarter, half. So you got Hamilton, quarter. I think that's Robert Jackson, who's since been released or cut, quarter. And then Jefferson is the half player. And the one thing about Hamilton that I suspect is he sees things on multiple sides of the field, and that's a very rare skill. He's looking here right now. He's looking at that backside X, and I think he sees the backside X looking at him. So watch as this play develops. Right now he's trying to keep relationship. As soon as this guy cuts out, I don't know why he keeps doing that. As soon as this guy cuts out, there we go. Kyle Hamilton's helmet flashed back here because he understands it's quarter, half. Meaning, if there's a vertical here by 1, it could be man. It could be just man on 1. That's very possible. Those two things could look like the same thing with this route combination or these routes, as a combination. But he understands if number 1 goes vertical, which he is, then Jackson, the corner, is going to take him. So if he got something like this, then Kyle Hamilton could jump that and play it. Prior to that out cut by this number 2 receiver, which is who Hamilton's reading now, theoretically he could have gotten, something like that, which case he would take number 2. So I think he's got a tremendous awareness level because as soon as the out cut is there, you see his helmet switch and look backside because he understands the coverage he's in. He understands this guy's job is to take 1 vertical. Didn't play a role in the in stopping the play, but I'm trying to illustrate to you that Kyle Hamilton's very, very smart. Again, look where his helmet is looking. He's got bunch over here, and he's looking backside at that X to see what he's doing. I would say this is 2-man, and unfortunately, Malik Willis starts to scramble. And when he starts to scramble, Hamilton has already turned to look over here because the other safety, Jefferson, he thought would be helping on that deep sideline out there or that deep over route. He's got quick awareness, if you ask me. Are there times where some people would say, like, why isn't he helping there? Maybe, but he's got really good awareness, especially for a rookie. I think he's playing better than we suspect. I do not co-sign the whole, I think PFF or some rating service put out a thing that said, 53 coverage snaps, 0 completions allowed. He hasn't been targeted that much, for real. We talked about this one ad nauseum. It's a bad angle because all your help is here, dude. All your help is to this side. You just got to close off this backside. That's not drawing well. He's just got to peel up field and close off that backside because all his help is to the inside. That's, he's a young guy. He's played a lot of football, a lot more than me. But he'll learn that, especially at this level. Really cool coverage that the Ravens are playing. Pepe Williams appears to be man here. I called it off man. Somebody in the comment section called it match 3. Whatever you want to call it. But Hamilton, to me, look how disciplined he's not in the exact middle of the field. But Hamilton, to me, is a guy who is trying to stay in between routes as best he can. He's trying to stay in between two routes, off, not necessarily on this play, but trying to stay in between two routes often to not give the quarterback any good option. Now, here's his burst. To get to Malik Willis, obviously, before he can get the first down. That's the play everybody talked about. All right, one more example of two-man. The way the Ravens are playing two-man, sometimes a safety will drop down and a safety will drop back, but I don't think that's predetermined. I think it could be predetermined sometimes, but sometimes I think it's dependent on the routes that are there. So Malik Willis is scrambling again. Jefferson's worrying about this, route originating from the other side of the field. And as Willis is scrambling, Hamilton's already trying to help out on a vertical here. He is leaving the linebacker soloed up on a tight end, but honestly, Christian Welch has done a pretty good job, especially in that Tennessee game. He does get lost a little bit here, but I think his recovery is good. A better throw, obviously would have been a completion. Okay. Let's move on to the Arizona game. Him and Geno Stone on the field now. You can see, if you missed it, him and Geno Stone are communicating something. Geno Stone gives him a thumbs up, so they're on the same page. That's the route combinations you're going to get here, and we're going to get a blown coverage. This running back's going to be wide open to the flats on the other side. We'll let it run. So, yeah, Josh Ross had an opportunity to make a play. It was tipped by the running back, by the receiver. Kyle Hamilton helped cover up the tight end. This is not man. He appears to be zoning this off right now, so some would want him to, drive on this underneath route, depending on what the coverage was. I'm going to be honest with you. Mike Macdonald is doing a lot of cool stuff. This looked like man initially. I don't know if Pepe Williams just stopped going because he got picked. Something's messed up here between. That's not Pepe Williams. My apologies. That's 29. Something's messed up here between these two because we get the running back wide open in the flats, and we get this guy running underneath that Josh Ross has to cover. So if I was to suspect, I think that whole group there, Hamilton, 29, Welch, probably got, they probably had to go review that coverage. But I'm not saying that Kyle Hamilton messed it up because he was at least definitive about what he was doing. This is what I think EA mentioned, maybe not this play, but talked about in his video, because I wasn't watching his video, to be honest with you. I was listening while I was driving, and talked about him covering the tight end. So I believe this is a tight end down here, the number 3 receiver, and I love how Kyle Hamilton instinctively gets his hands on people. Not on this play, but I have noticed, however, that the moment immediately following when he gets his hands on people, his helmet will often look back at the quarterback. And I understand, yeah, coach, you got to sometimes, because you got to worry about where the ball is coming from. Yeah, but the receiver is going to give you an idea of when the ball is being delivered, number 1. And number 2, that's just understanding routes. Like the ball is not going to be thrown to him right here. You know what I mean? It's going to be thrown to him out here somewhere, so we don't need to look back in the backfield yet. He didn't do that on this play, but you'll see one that he did later, and it's been well chronicled, to play in the end zone. Hamilton looks like he's the deep safety to the side of this bunch. Geno Stone is backside. Post-snap, I'll bring the routes back in a minute. Post-snap, we're going to get a rotation by Geno Stone. Cool coverage, we get the drop end. I think it's Chuck Wiley. He played pretty good against Arizona. We get a rotation. Kyle Hamilton drops down. So we'll show you the routes. There's the routes there. So Kyle Hamilton's going to cover this point man, or he's going to seek out that point man because he thinks the quarterback's going to come to him. He's looking for a pick. He's looking for a big play. So we rotated Geno Stone back, dropped Kyle Hamilton down, and then we played 2 over 2 over here. I'll be honest with you, the coverages that we're playing, I put it on Twitter, is 300 level stuff compared to Wink. Not super complicated. I'm not saying that we're running some, futuristic complicated coverages. However, I think we're playing multiple coverages better already, and we're only in the second preseason game, and we haven't seen our starters. You can let me know if you guys agree or not. So this looks like a one high safety look, possibly man free. And then Hamilton and Pepe Williams are going to rotate to a deep halves type of look. Mike Macdonald played this a lot at Michigan. He'd play this like 4 under, 2 deep type look. Now this could also be quarter, half. The same, somewhat similar to the first one I showed you, but I'm not so sure. Some people would say this is a 3 deep, 3 under zone blitz, where there's a call to do quarter, half to one side. Or excuse me, so a call to do quarter, half here. So quarter, half. And then these 3 being your underneath droppers. You know, there's a whole lot of ways to describe it. And sometimes 2 different coverages can look like the same thing depending on the route combination. In any case, Kyle Hamilton is always looking for work from the other side of the field if number 1 is being manned up, or like in this case, there is no number 1 releasing to this side because number 1 hit the drag. I wish we could see him targeted more. I don't think he's going to be targeted a whole lot unless he's playing the tight end in man. It just seems like people are going underneath more so against us. This is a beautiful play, backwards RPO. And EA, I heard him talk about this, so this play. So you get a base block by this tight end. So base block means he turns that outside linebacker edge player out. Kyle Hamilton read that as run, so he filled downhill. Now, batted the pass. So that's a very rare thing to do, knock a pass down at the line of scrimmage anyway. I think Hamilton was in man on this tight end, base blocked, which means just blocked him out. So Hamilton said, okay, well, I'm going to fill that gap. And it ended up being this backwards RPO because the back was on the other side. It's a unique thing to bat down a pass at the line of scrimmage in the first place. It's a unique thing to do so as a safety. I think 6 or 8 times this year he's going to do things like this. Not necessarily at the line of scrimmage, but he's going to do things where he gets his hands on a ball and either himself or someone else is going to have an opportunity to make a play, an interception, because he gets his hands on the ball. You know, there's different types of passes defense. There's passes defensed in man, there's passes defensed in zone, etc. And I think Kyle Hamilton's one of those guys that's going to often have some unique passes defensed because of his length, his ability to get up. I mean, he looks like he could get up has the highest vertical, or maybe the highest vertical, but because of his length, he can get up really high. And got great range. All right, so this is the poor play against Arizona, I guess. We got a zone-dropping D-tackle, which is Mac. And then the quarterback starts to scramble. Let's go there for a second. All right, at this point, Kyle Hamilton is locked up on this guy. We were zoning this off, however. And here's Mac. Mac, after zone dropping, is blitzing late or rushing late. And then he's going to be the guy who hits McSorley. And you can see that obviously, were this guy to catch the ball, Kyle Hamilton is the guy who would be responsible for that. But why are we zone dropping this guy? Well, there's something in the alignment of the Cardinals that's telling us that we're going to get something like, mesh. So what they want to do is, and we did this last year against the Bengals 2 times, I believe, zone drop the D tackle out. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to wall off the crosser from the other side. Okay, why isn't he doing that to the guy on the side he's at? Because it's kind of too close. That this guy might be able to get past him before he can drop out of there and get hands on. Because he wants to take a step. He wants to take a step, make the lineman think he's rushing, and then drop out of there. So you see, Mac is quite athletic. I'd like to see him just earhole this guy, but this guy sees the traffic in front of him immediately. He sees Mac there and goes, uh-oh, I'm not supposed to be dealing with a 330-pound guy, nor anyone in my path because I'm going underneath the linebacker level. Cool stuff. You got a mesh concept, and then this guy running here, we zoned it off. So what I mean by zoned it off is, look, you got backs to the sideline, right? We're zoning this off because we're not going to be in man and chase this guy, and chase that guy. You know who would have done that? Wink Martindale. We would have been in man, we would have chased this, and we would have given up a touchdown probably somewhere near this A in Cardinals or this A in Cardinals. Now, I know that you may say, Coach, you're not going to give up touchdowns to a guy up here. I'm talking about if we're playing man, all right? So those guys wouldn't be in that location. So we had a nice coverage call, and I don't think that Kyle Hamilton's got to take responsibility, and he will. I'm sure he has already. He's got to take responsibility. This is a nice call by the coaches. This is nice execution by the players. You cannot do this and betray the integrity of the defense at this point. You have to stay with your man. And I think Greg Olsen identified that during the game. That was poor. And that was the type of play that we do not expect from Kyle Hamilton. Another opportunity as a drop end. Steven Means is going to drop out to the field, and we're going to blitz Malik Harrison. Hamilton is spinning down. You see that there's a lot of times where they're targeting the other side of the field, but Hamilton is going to spin down inside of this to help out. I think this is Worley on the backside. It's just, I would just call it sky, but some people call it, bracket coverage. He's not really bracketing a receiver per se. I mean, he is bracketing him by the way they're lined up right now, but it's just a sky call is all I would say it is. We're doing some unique stuff coverage-wise. You guys let me know what you think. You got a drop end out here. You got Welch here. Hamilton spinning down. I'm not saying it's all working, because we're beat up here. We're going to find out in the regular season if it all works, but I love the fact that the quarterback is going to have to process a lot of this stuff. That's the interference against Brandon Stevens. Great play with his left hand. Said this in the reaction video. Great play with his left hand. Unbelievable play with his left hand. But it's interference with his right hand. He grabbed along the right shoulder. That's just the way I see it. And I'm a defensive guy. I thought the call against Pepe Williams in the end zone was bullshit. All right, over here, I think we got this in one more play maybe. Missed tackle on a 3rd and 19. Outside of the tendency, well, let's talk about what he's doing, all right? Kyle Hamilton, when he's lined up as the safety to the single receiver side, which is where he is here, there's the one receiver side, it's the tight end, he's always going to have awareness looking for, 3 vertical, or in this case, I think 3 goes out, and I think 2 presses like this little lube route, right up in between the hashes. So Kyle Hamilton shuts that down. It's a nice little switch by Arizona's 2 receivers, all right? Hamilton stays on top of it on 3rd and 19. Maybe Josh Ross is carrying this too deep, but he's playing well, man. He's playing well. And then for the tackle, one thing that I have heard talked about by people smarter than me, more experienced than me, is how many 6'4", 6'5" safeties do you see? You don't see a lot of them. It takes, I don't want to say a long time, but it takes longer for a 6'4", 6'5" guy to get down to the pad level he needs to be at in order to make a tackle. And during that time, running backs who've got shiftiness, or some people say they have that boom boom, they're going to be able to be 6 inches further outside than Kyle Hamilton's target area. And that's where, some of these missed tackles he's having, they're not out and out whiffs. They're just not as solid a contact as you would like to see. I mean, there's better athletes in the NFL. And let's be honest, there is a burst here. Look at the burst. Let me go. There's a burst there. You just got to work on getting broken down sooner and then understanding, where his help is in the middle of that play. That's a tough thing to do because it's an unsettled situation. To judge him too harshly over that is being a little bit picky. I think we got a great player in Kyle Hamilton. Right now, he's very versatile. Right now, he's very smart. Right now, he's in the right place at the right time. Have we seen many plays? Well, we got a fumble recovery on his first snap ever. We've got a batted pass in the end zone that prevented a would-be touchdown. Yes, we have some negative plays as well, but there is not glaring weaknesses in Kyle Hamilton's game. Do not fall for that. There are things that he needs to improve on, absolutely, especially as we get to playing starters. We're going to find out soon because he's going to be on the field week 1 against the Jets often, particularly in our nickel alignment. We have so many options, guys, so many options. If we have a healthy Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, and Kyle Fuller, you've got 3 veteran guys who can play, anywhere. Marcus Peters is generally a left corner. Kyle Fuller, unfortunately, is generally in the left corner in his career as well. You got Pepe Williams as a potential nickel safety. Brandon Stevens. Kyle Hamilton just adds to the flavor that is there. It's such a great mix. I think so far in the preseason, Mike Macdonald and the staff are running as many coverages as they can to get film of what we're trying to do, and then evaluate it. Okay, is this succeeding? Are we executing this? Kyle, are you reading this the way you should? Are you seeing this route? I think he sees the routes. I do. I think he sees the routes. I think he does a great job of staying in the correct leverage spot for the width and the depth of routes. And maybe I didn't explain that. Maybe I had a couple of opportunities to do so. He does a great job of being in between two routes and presenting the quarterback no good choice, meaning don't hedge my bets to one side and then open up a complementary route to the other side. I feel like Kyle Hamilton has got a lot of good film already through two games. I'm not super high on him like that analytics site, whatever it was. Maybe it was PFF that said 53 coverage snaps, 0 completions allowed. He hasn't been targeted a whole lot. I mean, he hasn't. He's obviously could have given up a completion in the end zone for a touchdown there. So what does that do? Does that change his metric or his ratings? Of course it would. So that's why some of those tweets and stuff are just, they're clickbait, like some of my video titles. So forgive the little dialogue here at the end, but I think we got a really good player right now, and I think we've got a guy who's going to be versatile, and the plays are going to come. To me, he's like a guy right now who is labeled as a 30 home run per year guy who hasn't hit any home runs yet, but he's hit a bunch of doubles, and he's hit a number of balls hard that were foul balls that could have been home runs. Kyle Hamilton's going to make plays. We're going to get turnovers from him. Is it going to be 10 or 12 turnovers a year? Well, no. I mean, that's unrealistic. We're going to get turnovers from him. The combination of him and Marcus Williams and a really smart, savvy veteran like Chuck Clark is going to give us so many options. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, forgive the little dialogue there at the end, or commentary at the end. I like talking about Kyle Hamilton. I think he's got a bright future. And I think the issue is never as simple as many people try to present, especially with a guy like Kyle Hamilton, who, for whatever reason, there is these two drastically, opposed opinions about, in terms of whether or not he's going to be a high-level safety in the NFL. In my mind, all the skills are there, all the tools are there, and all the ability to read. He just needs opportunity, which means people got to throw at him now. Appreciate you guys checking out the video. Let me know what you think of my thoughts, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so now.